program. Ahead of 2027 election, emerging forces and Nigeria's new political map might just be what might be changing the landscape. Also, opposition politics, Atiku's ADC delay, and Jonathan's possible comeback. Welcome, I am Dakbo Adigboye. Let's get the answers. Nigeria's new political landscape is shaping up to be dynamic, with emerging forces and alliances set to redefine the country's map. Now, for instance, a coalition led by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Nasir El-Rufai has formed under the African Democratic Congress, also known as the ADC. This alliance aims to consolidate opposition efforts and present a unified front against the ruling All Progressives Congress in the 2027 polls. However, the coalition formation has sparked debate, with supporters seeing it as a fresh start for inclusive governance, while critics question its sustainability and potential for internal conflicts. Well, joining me to discuss this is Peter Ame, is a former chairman of IPAC. Thank you for your time. All right, Peter, Mr. Peter, if you can hear me, it's great to have you on the program. Let me start by first asking you your take on the story that we broke as part of our headlines, where we understand that Aminu Tambuwal, former governor of Sokoto State, is currently being quizzed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Some opposition figures feel that politicians or certain politicians within the opposition are being systematically targeted, maybe as a form of oppression ahead of 2027, maybe for some of them to defect or stay quiet. Do you think that agencies like the EFCC, is being used to target opposition voices, of the administration?
It is not about what I think. It is about the reflection of the actions being taken. Aminu Tambuwal have left office this over 2 years now, and there was no action, to invite or probably, keep him in custody for a period of that past 2 years until this momentum to build a coalition started. So it is obvious that if a child dies in the night and a witch cried in the night, people will suspect the witch that have cried. So what the EFCC is doing is using the state apparatus to be able to twist the momentum that the opposition coalition have gotten. People in the opposition, this kind of template have been used in the past. When there's a non-performing government, there's no level of oppressive system that you put in place to oppress those who are trying to make sure that the right thing is done, that governance represents the true wishes of the people, that will work. So I think the FCC is getting it wrong to be coming out at this point in time, and then also not inviting the former governor, and also serving governor now, inviting him, make statement and go home, and even leave him on administrative bail to come back the next day. It's something that the law should have the law agency should have taken into consideration in trying to drive a process that, if you already have your facts with you, you are not going to be using the agency as a process to be able to take people out of circulation.
All right, but for some Nigerians, they might think otherwise. I mean, could this just be a situation of justice delayed but not denied? And I'm not talking about this particular case right now. I'm just looking at some of the maybe cases that might be considered old or outdated, right? So could it just be that maybe this is the time the arm of the law has finally caught up with some of these politicians?
I'm not against the law taking cost and then doing the right thing to make sure that whatever money that we've, that is alleged to be missing are recovered. I'm not against that, but I have told you that for me, I think the timing and the action of the EFCC must be seen to, to have a perception that is relatable with our people, because we can't continue in a process where we do selective justice and selective arrest and then selective detention, to a point where you cannot grant somebody of that level of public reputation, some kind of bail, you know, based on personal recognition. So there are a lot of things that we see beyond. As the opposition, I've never been in support of anything that drives corruption, and that's why I always tell you the kind of candidate I've supported over the years. I believe that, you know, corruption is the reason why in this state right now, why Nigeria is not really doing well, why Nigeria is not getting the result that I need to get, and probably also attached with the inability of those who are in government who do not have the necessary capacity to drive the cost of governance. But if you are doing something, I have seen what happens in other civilized climes. You have investigation. You would have done all your background investigation. There are documents in the court, in the banks, that the accounts that this money were transferred from. You would have traced all the necessary tracing. So there's no need to keep anybody incommunicado. As they come, as you do your integration, the next thing is to take them to the law court so that EFCC can be a court unto itself, arrest, detain, harass, and then before going to court. Because one of the things they try to do is to avoid going to court. Because as soon as the matter goes to court, it leaves the hands of the EFCC, who probably, as many as alleged, use it as an oppressive tool to coerce those who are in the opposition coalition, or who are generally in the opposition. So I am not in support of corruption, but these are, you know, perception is a very treacherous angle that you look at things from in politics.
All right, thank you so much. Now, you said something about timing. Talking about timing, let's look at what we are beginning to see emerge in the political space. For observers of, you know, Nigeria's political climate, this is not new. This is not the first time we are seeing the opposition form some sort of mega coalition to unseat the ruling power, you know, at the polls. But one thing that has been consistent in terms of criticism of maybe this particular one, talking about the one under the platform of the ADC, sorry, is the fact that it's the same politicians that Nigerians are used to that seem to come together under this camp to say, you know what, we have something different to offer. And one question, you know, on everyone's lips is, we know these people, we know some of them, we know the names, we know their political baggage, we know what they did while they were in office. What is different now?
I'm not here to speak for all members of the coalition. I've taken a stand in the coming election 2027. And that stand is very clear, both in private and public. And the fact is that we have a situation where the country is in a by moving towards the wrong direction. And it's because we don't have a president who have that necessary will and capacity to drive the economy and drive the political structure of this country. So these are the challenges that I have seen. And I feel that you cannot call people failed politicians. Politics is not a cause. You have an election period where some win and some lose. And even if you have to look at the statistics of the last election, was the APC really elected, you know, by their own genuine votes? So there are a lot of information out there. And I've always respected your station, and I'll state it clearly. And that's why I respect places like BBC, Premium Times, who did investigation. Because people talk about public available data. When you talk about public available data, whether it was refused to be announced, but it is established and it is hanging in the IRF portal of INEC, it is still a public available data that reference could be made to. So people have talked about the River State election votes that were stolen. So it's not about failure. Until we start to have transparent electoral processes that truly will represent the collective wish of our people, we cannot say that one person has failed and one person has lost. So, but in general terms, everybody cannot be in government at once. Wherefore, a coalition has been formed by opposition leader. My candidate in that coalition, everybody knows it. It's not an hidden secret. It's an open secret. So, and that candidate does not have any baggage coming to the coalition. There's no any other baggage apart from the fact that he has an organic support system within the Nigerian political structure, whether the masses are generally with him, and they understand that where we are going, the current trajectory where we are moving to, if we don't arrest the menace of bad leadership, then Nigeria will continue to, you know, crawl on his feet, despite being the giant in the sun, because we have all the necessary infrastructure, we have all the necessary human and resource capital that you need to drive Nigeria to make it a developed nation. But we are not achieving that. We are not achieving that because we don't put the necessary reasoning into play.
Talking about putting the necessary infrastructure in place, you are, the former chairman of IPAC, and you sort of hinted on how elections are conducted. I believe that you've witnessed quite a number of elections, and also maybe being involved in them. where have we been getting it wrong? I want you to put your answers in bullet points. How has it been that, over the years, maybe Nigeria has not been able to boast, to say, we've had this general election and it was fantastic. It represented the vote of the majority of Nigerians. It was free, it was fair, it gets a pass mark. Where have we been getting it wrong? In bullet points, please.
And we have been getting it wrong, especially with the structure that established the Electoral Commission. And the attitude of those who have managed the Electoral Commission, seeing that they are as if they are beholden to the authority that appoints them, instead of being responsible for the laws and the regulations that have put them in place. And we have a situation where electoral umpire switch off server that is respect to collate results for presidential election, and there's no public inquiry, there's no investigation that's been carried out since that time, and there's a public claim that this election was rigged in favor of one person. So even if it was not rigged, even if you accept that this was not it, but because it's taxpayers' money, there would have been a genuine interest, just like what Yaradua did, to be able to say, look, let's have a committee in place. That was why Yaradua formed Justice Tiwe Electoral Reform Panel in 2008, and you have Justice Lemu Electoral Reform Panel in 2011. Then you have Kenny Namani Electoral Reform Panel. If APC was really committed to entrenching democratic governance in Nigeria, these processes would have been reviewed, and you cannot have put up over 350 billion of our resources to try to establish a technology-driven electoral process, and then in the middle of the match, the goalpost changed and it was shifted to one side, and there is nobody that has been held responsible. There's no public information to show that a proper inquiry, a proper investigation was carried out, and to justify that it was not done by human error to rig out a popular candidate. So in generally, for us to have a true election that will ever cater for our people, we must be able to have a law that generally accepts that the IRF will also be a coalition platform. Because what we have today is double coalition process, where you have manual coalition and electronic coalition. So if we are going to have the electronic coalition, which is the IRF and the bimodal voting part, we must be able to clearly state that they are acceptable to the law, and the judiciary must also be responsible to also see between the shenanigans and the criminal techniques being employed by those in power to undermine an electoral process. These are the key values. There's nothing any world can do as long as the Electoral Commission does not play by the rules, as long as the Electoral Commission continue to not define a clear process in their regulation and manual for conduct of election as established in 2022, we will continue to have this problem. But Nigerians can also defeat this by standing firm to defend their vote.
All right, let's move away slightly from the elections and go back to the coalition and some of the pivotal names that have come out. One of such is the person of Peter Obi. It seems to be the beautiful bride that many of the opposition parties are trying to court at the moment. And then we look at all of the dynamics. Peter Obi, yes, seems to be very much, in line with the coalition, and that's the ADC. But then is still a member of the Labour Party, and the Labour Party is experiencing its own internal turmoil. So I would like you to speak on his capacity, because some Nigerians, as much as he might, have, in your words, organic following and, liking of the general public, some feel that he might just be, permit me, maybe a Buhari, for instance, who was just after his own reputation, but was not in control. Do you see him as that kind of person?
Not at all. There's one thing that defines Peter Obi from the rest of the people, apart from the fact that he sees his, he takes his integrity and the public, they call it, relationship he has very seriously, without trying to manage it in any way. He's also a very firm person, because you can be a leader and not being firm would undermine your integrity. He's a very firm person. Like I have told a lot of people, he's morally upright. People are greedy. There's not an amount of money you can give to a lot of people today that will be enough. But that part of that greed is something that you cannot find with him. He has conquered greed. He's committed to living an upright life in order to be able to leave this record behind, that he came and participate in a process that left it better than he met it. So these are part of the open knowledge of anybody that have interacted with him. I have told a lot of Nigerians, you don't want to, if there's another process to get into governance, Peter Obi would have taken the political route. But this is the only process that is available, so everybody can be called politician. And then people use all sort of yardstick to try to, measure all sense of politician. But his records are there, and they are very clear. And when you try to look at the amount of revenue fact available to him while he was governor, you know that he's really determined to try to make a
Mr. Ahmed, we'll definitely come back to this conversation. I understand that we need to go on a quick break. When we return, we'll definitely dig deeper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and I still have my guest with me, Peter Ahmed, as the former chairman of IPAC. Thank you for staying with me, sir. All right. Let's get back into some of the candidates of the coalition. That's the ADC, which is the platform for this coalition. You were talking about Peter Obi, and I asked you a very pivotal question, which reflects well, I call it perception of some Nigerians. Do you think that he is one leader, aside the maybe squeaky clean, background and his integrity and all of that? There's also the part of willpower, that makes a leader. Some would make reference to the fact that with what is happening within the Labour Party, for instance, where there is internal crisis, he should have waded in and found a way to resolve it. That should have some sort shown a strength in leadership, don't you think?
The same thing happened in PDP. The issue with political parties that people are misunderstanding, if you are a reformer and you have those who are in charge of a political party, your party that you belong to, and you are a reformer, you cannot have the opportunity to reform the processes if those who are in charge of the party administration does not give room for reform. Because you are not signatory to any of the, whether the calling for the next meeting, the convention, and also writing to INEC. So even if you have all the best proposal to try to reform a policy, don't forget I was a former national chairman, and you want to reform, and those people who are, part of the leadership of the party are anti-reforms. There's no way you can get it right. So I find it difficult to blame members who are highly placed in political party, who have good intention for the growth and development of the party, and were not really given the opportunity to do such. You can't blame that on people. The only way you can blame a person, if a person have the authority, the right to wield that authority and use it for the benefit of the people, and then, could not do such. That's when you can blame the person. But the authority to either manage the political party, to write to Independent Electoral Commission, to call for next meeting that will review proposals that will, go through the manifesto of the party or review the constitution of the party, that power is not given to a presidential candidate. It's in the hands of those who are the operators of the and running of the affairs of the party. For a person like Peter Obi, he's a very firm, disciplined person. One of the things we suffer in this country is lack of discipline. Is the fact that our society has so drifted away from the moral norms that we are supposed to be, running our governance with, that have drifted into a situation where we no longer have that compass to manage the process well. If you don't have that kind of leader that will be talking, look, when you talk about the principle of consumption to production, people don't just laugh. If Nigeria is not a productive, if Nigeria is not producing, if Nigeria don't go into investment that will be able to carry our young people, and take them out of the street. Look at how many people who have just registered for civil defense and paramilitary, about 1.9 million Nigerians. And these are people who are interested. We're not talking about the general term. So we need to have a situation where we broaden our investment opportunity for our people. We open up space for our people to participate in their own personal, small and medium scale enterprises. And that is the area where it's very good. And it's an expert in that area. We cannot open up the economy if we don't have people who have managed their own private business before, people who have the ability to run enterprise successfully. If we don't have such people, to manage our economy, then we'll continue to come with politics. For the past 2 years, we have had an election.
Ahmed, because we're really working with time, please, I would like to come in here. Let's look at other politicians that are within this coalition. Nigeria's former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, there are, of course, indications or pointers that he might, also want to run, for the top job again. That's the presidency, even though he has not formally joined the ADC. And then there are also talks around some individuals that make up this coalition. Should they even be there in the first place? So I would like you to speak particularly on that. Do you think that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar should pick up the presidential ticket again as the candidate of the party? Should he choose to join?
It is fundamental right, But you must live by reality and live by the current reality of our times. There's always been this subtle agreement, this unwritten agreement between the North and South. The power rotates between the North and South. And even from Atiku himself, he has said severally that if the PDP has zoned the ticket to the Southeast, that he wouldn't have contested. It's on record to have said that. And now today, we have a situation where we have a Southern presidency that is supposed to have, take 8 years of the Southern rotation. And you have a president that has just left the Buhari administration that has spent 8 years. Bringing another Northerner, I'm a Northerner, I'm a Northerner from Kogi State. Bringing another Northerner to come and, compete with that process, the coalition will lose. Because you need somebody, yes, if you're taking somebody from the South, you need somebody since 1999 to 2023, none of the time that PDP has ever defeated Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Lagos. It was Peter B that did that. In the same thing, as standing on a political party that have no governors, nobody, also defeated the APC with the structure in the FCT, and then won 44.5% in the South. So what we need to do is to look, the only obstacle that would have stood before the coalition today is that if Peter B have not agreed to do a one-term for 4 years. Since he had agreed, and he has better chance and better understanding with the electorate in the South, they should be able to support him to be able to come on board, finish in one term, and then return back to the North. So for me, I don't think that anybody should be, but all of them should be part of the process. They should support him. Look at them. Good luck, Jonathan. Look at how much the president Peter Obi invested his time in 2011 and 2015 to stand, because he knows that you need to stand behind somebody that will do the. And at the time, you can see Amechi even making mockery of his support for Good Luck Jonathan, of how much the Southeast even stood for Good Luck Jonathan, of how much they did everything, even despite Good Luck is not from the same zone. So this is a time to be able to look at this whole record and see what the Southeast has contributed to the PDP, what the Southeast has contributed to the campaign of Goodluck Jonathan, Atiku, and all of them, and then said, no, this is time to pay them back. And there's one thing that I used to tell people: as much as Peter Obi is saying that I'm not a regional candidate, I'm not this, I want to be known to be somebody who ran for the presidency based on competence, merit, and ability. These facts are still our reality. We must live by the reality of our country, and then try to define the political process in a way that will accommodate our interests.
Thank you so much. It's been a privilege having you speak with us. Pleasure speaking with you this evening. Is of course the former chairman of IPAC, Peter Ame. Once again, thank you for your time. All right. At this point, we will go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be switching gears to talk about the ADC and the internal political dynamics unfolding. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Nigeria's former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's delayed entry into the African Democratic Congress has sparked speculation about internal party dynamics and potential challenges to his 2027 presidential ambitions. Atiku's camp attributes the delay to waiting for some All Progressives Congress governors and members to defect to the ADC before formalizing his membership as alleged. However, rumors suggest that the delay might be linked to former President Goodluck Jonathan's possible comeback. Well, joining me to discuss this is Duro OI, is the former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, and also Mabel Obo, the Director of Communication for the ADC Lagos State. Thank you so much for your time, gentleman and lady.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Happy to join you this evening.
All right. Let me start with you, Mabel. I mean, to the best of your understanding, what's the hold-up, so far from preventing, or what is preventing the former vice president from formally declaring his membership with the ADC? We know that he has formally tendered the letter saying he's out of the PDP. So what is holding him back from, picking up the ADC card and saying, I'm a bona fide member?
Well, I'm actually quite happy when you started off. You said rumor, you know. I don't see where a change of date, has become a big deal. Yes, the 6th of August was chosen for him to do his official declaration and collect his card. And of course, due to some, reasons, he wasn't able to do that. And that date has been shifted. So why is it now a big deal that he has shifted the date?
I mean, Nigerians are interested in the reasons.
There's no particular reason whatsoever. He's still going to collect his card as, arranged. The only difference here is that the date has changed.
Can I put it to you? Could this be a situation of where maybe, I mean, just maybe, could it be a situation of maybe still party shopping as a result of some rumors that maybe Nigeria's former president might, come back into the race?
Nothing to do with that whatsoever. I think what is going on here is people are saying how strong ADC is at the moment, and they're doing everything possible to discredit the party. That's what's going on at the moment. How can he be party shopping? To which party? He's been part of this coalition, from the very beginning, and nothing has changed. Okay, fine. Yeah, the rumor says again that a good Lord Jonathan is going to join ADC. He's very welcome. What is the coalition all about? It's about every leader, past or present, or even every Nigerian who is very worried about the current situation in Nigeria. This whole dilemma, the hunger, the lack of good policies that we have in the country at the moment, to come help salvage the country. That's what the coalition is all about. So if good Lord Jonathan wants to join, our party ADC, he's very, very welcome.
But is that confirmed? Sorry to cut you. Is that confirmed? Is Nigeria's former former President Goodluck Jonathan, is it confirmed that he wants to join the ADC as a member and an official of the party?
It is not confirmed. Okay. It is not confirmed. Right. Based what you said is a rumor, But what we're saying, I believe that our national publicity secretary did respond to this very rumor before. He said everyone is welcome to join the ADC, to join the coalition.
All right.
So with open arms, we are going to welcome Jonathan if he happens to join ADC.
All right, thank you so much.
And every other Nigerian that wants to do the same.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Obo. Let me bring Mr. Odeyemi into the conversation as a former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. I noticed that you were giggling, sir, while she was speaking. As a PDP member, maybe I should just take this to the streets. Should Nigeria's former president, Goodluck Jonathan, choose to, come back into the race and join the ADC, how much of a spanner lost is it for the PDP?
Thank you very much. And the question is hypothetical. Hypothetical in the sense that neither former President Jonathan or the PDP or APC or ADC have come out to say yes, he has signified his intention to come back to any political party and recontest. So that makes it cloudy, and it's very difficult for anybody to predict. But having said that, that Atiku delayed his formal registration into the ADC has been discussed by my sister that, I don't know how much he knows about Atiku, but I know Atiku as a journalist and I know him as a politician. Atiku is somebody that you cannot pin down to any decision and at any time. If he's such a man who could put his foot down on issues, take a decision at the right time, he will have become president of this country. So the game that he is playing now is his character. He has joined many political parties in the past, and ADC, I can tell you, is not going to be the last.
So
it's
are you saying, from your analysis,
there is indication?
Okay.
Yes.
From your analysis, sir, are you saying that Nigeria's former vice president
is not going to be presented?
I want you to land before I ask my question. Please land.
Yes. If from all indication, Atiku is not going to be presented as a presidential candidate of ADC, you can be rest assured that he's going to join ship again. That Jonathan is coming to join ADC as is being rumored. Well, he may want to look at it because he will see Jonathan as a threat. So his delay tactics is his character and his strategic plan. Though to him it may be positive, but I see it as a negative thing, whereby you cannot pin down a leader to a particular issue that he will put his foot down. And I have many reasons to say this. Right from PDP, if Atiku had put his foot down on the issue of having Wike as his vice presidential aspirant, he would have perhaps become the president today. If Atiku is so smart to pin down Obi as his vice presidential candidate, he would have been the president today. If he is the right person that will make a decision and say, yes, this is what I stand for, Ayu would have been removed according to the demands of the G5, and he would have become the president today. So to me, I don't see Atiku. I am not sure the people who are strategizing for him study the situation before he embark on any decision. So his delay, the way I want to see it now is just to see if Jonathan will come to ADC, and if Jonathan comes, Atiku will leave ADC. Just take that.
To what party?
Oh, Atiku knows. He can go and he can go to SDP, he can go to any other political party. Is that not a way ADC was formed? ADC, if you want to know, is Atiku Disciples Congress. He moved his people to that place. So if any presidential candidate or any presidential hopeful join ADC today, that will be the end of his dealings with ADC. So don't be too. We don't have to be sentimental about it. 24 hours is a long period in politics. Under 24 hours, anything can happen.
Okay, thank you.
So that he is in the ADC today. Don't be shocked if tomorrow Atiku picks another political party. Don't be sure.
Thank you so much, Mr. Odemi. You sort of give an acronym, and I'll be going back to Madam Oba on this one. You said the coalition, according to you, is Atiku something Congress. I've forgotten the word you used there.
Atiku Disciples Congress.
That is your own definition of the coalition.
Who go to ADC?
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
I would like to take Madam Oba's reaction to this. Mr. Odemi has said or suggested that Atiku seems to be, a poor decision maker, or maybe even indecisive politically, and he seems to have that track record. And according to him, this is his character over the years. How do you react?
I think that is really very, very negative, of him, and extremely disrespectful, if I may say. Under the ground of politics, okay, it is acceptable. We must understand something, and people seem to be moving away from the fact what this whole coalition is all about. It is not about Atiku. It is not about Obi. It is not about Jonathan. It's about Nigeria and Nigerians and the problem we are facing in Nigeria at the moment. The coalition is to bring all like-minded together to see how we can salvage what we are suffering in this country at the moment. I find it very, very, I don't know how to really put it. It's amazing how people, in the name of politics, can distract, things from the main fact and start, cooking up stories. Atiku has been part of this coalition. Every citizen, I tell you, even ordinary Nigerians, we have thousands of Nigerians joining ADC on a daily basis. We have a common ground, and that common ground is to salvage Nigeria. And that's what we're working on. And I think, the people that are actually against the progress of this country, I will put it that way, they are trying to distract, the citizens and create, fantastic stories that everybody, would want to hear, move away from what the coalition is all about and, and go on, talking about Atiku, Obi, or Jonathan or anybody else. By the way, it must be understood that ADC has been there for a long time, under the leadership of Rafuwonsu. So, calling ADC some Atiku, whatever he called it, I think that's very insulting. It's very insulting to the party that has been there, for at least since 1995, So for people to come together to use that platform at the moment, I think it's a great thing that is happening to Nigeria, not, something that should be overlooked or, just be shoved aside or use it as a distraction to what, ADC actually stands for, at the moment.
All right.
Anybody that's against what ADC stands for, which means that they are very happy for us to have, a one-party system in Nigeria. And that is what everybody has said no to. All
right, thank you so much. We need to go on a quick break. When we return, we'll definitely be taking more of our thoughts on this. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. I have Duro OI, is the former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, and also Mabel Oba, Director of Communication for the ADC in Lagos State. Gentlemen and lady, thank you for your time. Before we definitely wrap up, I'll come to you, Mr. Duro. Your final thoughts on this, particularly if you were to advise, the ADC and the coalition. In 30 seconds, please, what would be your advice to them?
As far as I'm concerned, the use of the word rescue is not what ADC should be talking about, because if you look at the personalities that come to form this coalition, the question we ask is, who among them has not been in government for, donkey years? What was the achievements individually and collectively that Nigerians will now take them serious, that they are indeed ready to rescue anybody? And apart from that, is it only when you form a coalition in ADC that you can, solve Nigerian problem? Many of you that came from PDP, the question is, you went because you believe there is crisis in the PDP. And who told you that there will not be crisis in ADC? And the beginning of the crisis is what we are seeing now with Atiku, because the delay of his registration is tactical to see if anybody will rescue the presidential ticket from him. It's nothing more than that. So in politics, there is nothing disrespectful in a point and in facts that I made an allegation and I backed it up with series of events to portray Atiku as a leader that is not decisive. It's as simple as UBC.
All right. Madam Mabel, your final thoughts and reaction.
Well, my final thoughts and reactions remain the same, that we should not move away from what this coalition is all about. It says by the gentleman said that we shouldn't use the word, salvage Nigeria. I don't know what other words we can use. We've been saying this over and over again, and everybody has seen it. What is happening and what has happened is that likes mind, yes, they've been in government before, they're experienced. It is not about them individually, it's about the collective effort they have to put together to make sure we have a better Nigeria. And we shouldn't move away from that. The talk about ADC is about Atiku getting the ticket. That is all wrong. We believe in fairness, and this is going to play out. I have said it before, that we should be given the chance to do our job. You know, we want to rescue Nigeria, and even members of the PDP, they are part of us at the moment. Even the ruling party, they are part of us at the moment. So what are we talking about? So let's not move away from the fact that we have an issue in Nigeria, and that issue needs to be solved. And the only people that can do that are Nigerians and the leaders in this country, not necessarily the ones that have ruled before, including, you know, the ones, you know, that have not ruled, you know, can join us in making every effort to make sure we save this country.
All right,
and make it a better Nigeria.
Well, I mean, thank you so much. So much optimism. Maybe if you can just give me a single response. Do you feel, I mean, the impression of some Nigerians, do you feel that the ADC, that's your party, do you feel it's, you know, just being used by some of these politicians for relevance?
Not at all.
Not at all?
You know, not at all. Before we got into a coalition, there were a lot of talks, even within, you know, the party. Like I've mentioned before, I was, you know, a member of the National Working, you know.
So basically, you are saying that they joined your party out of loyalty and in the interest of Nigerians as against personal interest. Is that what you're saying? Please, in 30 seconds.
Very correct.
Very correct. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the program. Mabel Oba, she's the Director of Communications for the ADC Lagos State. And also Duro OI, the former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
All right. This, of course, is where we call it a wrap. In case you missed out, you can actually catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. You can also follow us on social media. The handle is there on your screen. You can choose to follow me personally at Dakpo, at Digboye. Until I come your way tomorrow, good night.